This is the new Subaru BRZ, and today we're going to find out if this thing is the right choice for you. I've got some good news and some bad news. Let's start first with the good news. For this year, the BRZ is redesigned in and out. We have a new engine, we have a new chassis, and most importantly, new interior and added features. For example, the front end, now it is more sporty. Absolutely love the design. I have to say, they've done a great job. It looks a bit like the Toyota GR86, but technically they're the same car. For example, the bumper is aggressive. I love these 18-inch wheels. Absolutely love the color, the beautiful blue exterior as well. It's a perfect match. They've done a great job. And then we'll move on to the rear end, where again, a bit more sporty. I love this design. I love the actual tailgate, this beautiful line over here, the tail lights as well. I'd say they have absolutely killed it. This thing looks sexy and sporty. Then we jump into the inside where things change as well. The interior has received major updates, including the infotainment display, the cluster as well. It is digital. I love that kind of design. Shows you quite a lot of features and some performance metrics as well, which is important. Then we have a traction control. You can turn that on once and then it changes the RPM gauge as well to make it more sporty. This is also equipped with a 6-speed manual transmission. Great respect to Toyota and Subaru for offering that. And most importantly, this year we have a 6-speed automatic transmission, which apparently it is as fast, from what Subaru says, as a DCT. Well, I haven't tried that yet, so I can't tell you exactly. Then we have the seats. These are beautiful suede. I'm a big fan of suede, but with time, suede, well, it's not the best thing because it kind of fades a bit. Then we'll move on to the door panel. We have more suede over here, beautiful red stitching. Absolutely love that. Great design, great features as well. It has a backup camera, of course, heated seats. You have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And this year, they're offering the EyeSight system offering the other Subarus, which is, again, a great system. We have lane assist as well. You have parking assist. And most importantly, it is different than the previous gen. The outgoing model used a 2-liter flat 4 naturally aspirated. New model uses a 2.4-liter 4-cylinder flat 4, and unfortunately, we don't get a turbocharged one, so it's still a naturally aspirated engine. And this is the same one you'll find in the Toyota GR86. In fact, the actual tiny engine cover, the smallest one I've seen, it says Toyota and Subaru. It's the D4S engine. Now let's talk about the horsepower, because this does get a bit of a bump in terms of the brake horsepower. The 2.4-liter makes 228 brake horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. It replaces the previous 2-liter, which only made 205 brake horsepower and 156 pound-feet of torque. It also uses a 6-speed close-ratio manual transmission. And this year, we have a new updated automatic transmission, which is a 6-speed automatic transmission and uses also paddle shifters and a downshift blip control, and with a lower center of gravity than before. And it has a longer wheelbase. To reduce weight, the car received an aluminum roof and front fender, and now it only weighs 2,815 pounds. Subaru claims that it's also improved the front to rear weight distribution over the outgoing model. The bad news. Well, it's going to cost you $600 more than the previous generation. But that's not just it. In fact, this is actually as expensive as some other competitors. One of them is one of my favorite ones, is the Ford Mustang, specifically the EcoBoost. Next one is the Civic Si, which is technically a sedan. Then we have the Mazda MX-5, which is a 2-seater, but it is a convertible. So maybe some people will like that. Let's talk about the Ford Mustang, how that competes against this and why I would buy that over the new BRZ. The Subaru BRZ in Canada starts at $30,000. Meanwhile, the Mustang EcoBoost starts at $32,000. This, with the highest trim, you're looking at about $35,000. The Mustang EcoBoost can go up to $38,000, but that also means that you get more brake horsepower in the HPP, which is the high performance version. Now, in the US, this starts at about $28,000. Meanwhile, the Mustang EcoBoost starts at $27,000. That's about $1,000 less than this. The Mustang offers more space in the trunk than this. Well, that's a win for the EcoBoost. That's my equipment. There's some stuff in the back. And now my camera guy has to keep his own equipment in the front or put it in the back seats. This doesn't offer much. Although this does have a longer wheelbase in comparison to the outgoing model, the second row seat, well, the only living thing that can sit in there is probably a dog, maybe a lizard, a cat. There's definitely a human being, especially me, that I'm 6'2", there's no way you can sit in the back. They're completely useless. In the Mustang, though, they are a bit tight, but I can fit in. Here's another problem with this car. I don't think I have to explain that. The Mustang EcoBoost does have more room in the second and the first row, and it does have more tech features. Like this has heated seats. Let's talk about the heated seats. I believe, and I could say because I've seen it many times, this is not driven in winter, so why would you need heated seats? What I would need in this car is ventilated seats so that I can enjoy in the summertime. Maybe if you want to put the window down, I understand that. The next thing is go for the infotainment display, which this is very, very small, and it's not as quick in comparison to the one used in the Mustang EcoBoost. And then move on into the actual cluster, which the Mustang has many options. You also have a drag strip option to launch the vehicle. It's very smart. Then you can change the layout as well, different modes, really impressive. This, on the other hand, well, it's kind of stuck in 2016. It's not as updated. On top of that, this doesn't even offer wireless charging pad or different driving modes. The only thing you have is this track button over here, which controls the traction control. Both vehicles have manual handbrake, which in my opinion is the best thing that you could offer in a car like this in 2022. The Mustang EcoBoost offers a 2.3-liter turbocharged engine, 4-cylinder, which makes more horsepower than this. You're looking at about 300 horsepower. Then the high-performance version can go up to 330 horsepower. You can pick between a 10-speed automatic transmission, which is really good, or the 6-speed, which is something that is offered in this. Another car I want to talk about is the Elantra N, because that is an interesting competitor too. Even though, yes, it does cost more. In fact, in Canada, that starts at about $39,000, almost $40,000. While this is at $35,000. But if you are paying already $35,000, well, why not go all the way to $40,000, where you can get a car that is bigger? It offers proper seats in the back, where you don't have to sit just the lizards and cats. You can also have humans sitting in the back. It also has more horsepower. I know it's a front-wheel drive, but it uses a dual clutch transmission, which is quite impressive. Now let's talk about how this thing drives in comparison to the old one, because I did drive the old gen. It's loud in terms of the road noise. It sounds about the same. It feels a bit more powerful, but the difference is very small. So you couldn't tell right away that there is a difference in terms of power delivery. The suspension feels nicer, I have to say. The chassis feels great. It is a bit stiffer and handles well in corners. There is a difference between this and the old one. The problem I find with this car specifically this year is that it's not a lot better. It's gone up by $600, but it's not extremely different. Yes, design, interior, and all that. My problem is that it should have been at least turbocharged. What is the point of having this naturally aspirated again? This just is as gutless as the older one. I could not spend $35,000 Canadian on this thing, knowing that I can get a Mustang EcoBoost that makes more horsepower, has more space. I understand people that buy this car. I get it. It's nice, it's cute, it's small, it's easy to drive. It's a 6-speed manual, nothing wrong with it. But after driving an EcoBoost Mustang. And I know some people will say, well, a Mustang is not a V8, it should be a V8. It doesn't really matter anymore, especially with the gas prices today. You're paying $6 a gallon, or like $2, $3 or a liter per premium. And by the way, this says premium in the back, which is kind of shocking for a 2.4 liter engine, naturally aspirated. I get who they're serving with this car, but I think for the money you can get a lot more. For example, you can even get a V8 used Mustang. That's insane for 35 grand. It looks nice, it's beautiful on the outside. For me, this is a no-go because I feel like a giant inside this car. It's too small for me. I'm 6'2". If you're under, let's say 5'5", yeah, you might enjoy this. But if you're my height, you're not gonna enjoy this as much. I have to say, I feel less crammed here than I do in the Supra. In the Supra, I'm like completely claustrophobic, and here it feels a little bit different. It's a bit nicer. Fact that it has a longer wheelbase than the older model, you can feel that little difference. It's not much inches, but I don't know, it's not exciting. Like, yeah, I get it, it's a 6-speed manual. You go, you push it, and then you push it again, you enjoy that, but it's just, I don't know, there's something about it. And the funny part is that most people that buy these, either they tune the hell out of them or they just swap the engine, which I'm assuming it's a good thing for the brand, but at the same time just shows you how useless that engine is. Yes, you can buy some tuning options and get some more horsepower out of it, but then you're spending more money. So if you're getting to that level, might as well just go for a Mustang. I can just get a Mazda, which has a better interior, more premium, and you can get a hard top, you can get a soft top for beautiful summer days. This though, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I expected a bit more, not just looks. I expected a bit more in terms of suspension system. I expected a bit more in terms of the transmission. This thing is so long, the gear shifter, like the shifter here, it's so long, like you can pull it out and beat someone with it in case if you need to protect yourself, which is, again, that just shows you it's not a proper sports car in my opinion. It's not even close to that. This is a small car that it's just overpriced. It could be a lot better. The good news is that it's different. It looks beautiful. There's some positive news in that. It looks beautiful in comparison to the outgoing model. I wasn't a fan of that. The rear end is one of my favorite actually. And you got some tech features on the inside. It's only up $600, which is not huge. And if you feel like you're left out because of the outgoing model, well, don't worry, because it's just you're paying $600 more. It would be really tough to convince me to get this, and so far, I'm not there yet. Like, I think for the money, the Mustang EcoBoost or even a used GT will just do the job. In case, let's just say, okay, well, I can't afford a V8 now to drive daily. I understand that, but you can get the EcoBoost, which is far better in terms of fuel efficiency. And on top of that, it has a quad exhaust, which sounds incredible in my opinion. For a 4-cylinder, let's keep that in mind. It's actually the same engine used in the Focus RS, which I owned previously and I liked it. And it's a rear-wheel drive. It's spacious. And you can get a convertible with a Mustang. You can get a soft top convertible, which again, if you're a fan of those, you can get this one in that. That would have been pretty cool, at least, a bit more competitive. I'm just not feeling this car, and I don't even have to drive the GR86 because I'd say it's probably the same thing because they technically have the same car underneath. I'll pay $28,000 for this. That's it. $28,000 Canadian, say $24,000, $25,000 US, and call it a day. Then I could buy this.